All right, what's going on, guys? Let's get straight into it. So, every single week when I start off my weekly analysis, I'm typically going to look for can I anticipate the next weekly candle? Like, is there clear structure? Is there a clear objective, right? Can I anticipate a move on a weekly candle? Now, I'm going to start off with indices. As of right now, indices, in my opinion, is a little bit lower probability, but I'm gonna hold off to see if we can have some sort of like bullish momentum to the upside, and you'll see why. I think right now it's unclear, and this is what I want to also show you guys because sometimes some weeks are not going to be clear, and that's absolutely okay. Our goal is to wait for opportunities when the opportunity is clear. Some people associate trading skill with being able to trade like every single move, but that's not what the whole game is about. It's waiting for those pristine times. And I could get into that a whole different terms of psychology behind that, but let's get it straightforward. So honestly, the way I see NQ, we have been creating overall bullish market structure, and even on this weekly drop here, we're still maintaining this bullish momentum. Now, the reason why I say it's also kind of iffy because if we look at ES has been making new highs, so we do have this little bit of an SMT where ES is making new highs, but NQ is failing to make that new high above all-time highs. And this is the key thing, however, right? Does that mean this is automatically a sell? No, because we're still maintaining bullishness. Like look at ES. Even this drop last week on ES has still been, I mean, we're still maintaining bullish structure. So, however, when we go down to the daily time frame, it's just pretty choppy, right? Like we're kind of like banging around, like even though we're kind of slowly grinding higher, there's just no real strong momentum either way. So this one, I'm personally waiting to see what's going to happen. Same thing with NQ. Are we going to maintain or not? Now, I've said this last week. The only way I'm going to be looking for bullishness if we have a closure above here. And even on this day, I remember on this day, everyone was like, oh my God, this is the liquidity pool sweep. We're going to rip higher. And I said to be careful because we took out the Friday high. So if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, this was essentially the Friday high. At this point, the market came up into that area. We swept, and then we kind of, to be honest, this looks pretty heavy. We have one big drop here. We have the 4-hour bearish VP drop lower. So right now, this is just in consolidation. There's no point, in my opinion, to try to force anything on this until it becomes a little bit more clear. And these are the conditions most people blow their accounts because they're just trying to trade inside of this range. So we'll see what happens. This one will probably be more of an update going into Monday. Now, gold, same thing. On the weekly time frame, still pretty bullish overall. But we'll see again because we're also pretty high up. We did have that fair value gap trade down into, and this is exactly what we were looking for, right? We wanted to see this drop down into here. Now I'm going to just wait to see, can we, what I'm trying to wait for this one is can we have like maybe another maybe drop lower and then maybe another 4-hour confirmation? If that's the case, then I do think we'll continue higher overall. It's always just hard for me to buy up in this area on just one reaction because again we're so high up on gold. Like we look at the weekly time frame, and not only the weekly, realistically, if you just go to like the monthly time frame as well, we've been just absolutely ripping higher. So we'll see how this one goes. Obviously, the trend is still clearly bullish. Daily, we're respecting this fair value gap, and now we'll just see going into the new week. Are we going to kind of ultimately respect this, continue to respect this, and then ultimately hit new highs, which would be last week's high, which would be above here. That's kind of what I'm watching for. I mean, key strong level. I obviously would not want to see any daily candle drop and close below this. The overall swing is swing low to swing high. And the 50% is right there. However, we are at a pretty much at a area of support with this fair value gap and this prior high. So I'm going to lean obviously towards bullishness. I just want to see a little bit more confirmation on the 4-hour and see how we start out. Now, I do think dollar yen. I do think dollar yen actually has a nice setup. I do think that we are going to head down into this area in here. And I know most people are going to be like, well, you know, right now where it's currently constructed, that's only about 20 or 30 pips. But again, for me, it's not about that. It's like, can I identify a clear move? Now, the reason being, we have this clear downside fair value gap. The market has rated all these equal highs last week, as well as above here. And we have this fair value gap over there. So this is a prime example of the market potentially heading lower down into a discount, which is going to be this fair value gap. So what I'm waiting for is this. I'm waiting to see, can we come up into here? Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Can we have a little bit of like a push up to start the week, some sort of rejection? And then if we get that rejection, right, I would look for the market to come up into this gap, maybe that 157.30s. And to be fair, like from here to here, let me just draw that out. From this point in here, like let's say we get a little retracement and all the way down here, that's 85 pips. So there's a lot of meat on the move and it's right there. And I like this one because we already have backside bearish market structure in here and we have a clear downside objective. So for me, I'm waiting to see if we can kind of have a little bit of a rally. If this one just drops straight into here, then that's no longer going to be my focus. But I do like a dollar yen. This one actually looks the best one out of all of them. Now, if you're trading futures and you want to try and like maybe capitalize on this move, what I would suggest is number one, either use some sort of CFD platform, whether it's a broker or whether you want to go with props as well, or you can just go to 6J, Japanese yen futures, and the Japanese yen futures is pretty much the inverse. So the inverse would be like, hey, the same way I'm looking for that fair value gap to trade into, I'm looking for the same thing on this. So it's just in reverse. Where yen futures, I'm anticipating potential bullishness. Dollar yen, I'm expecting, I'm expecting this downside to get hit. So be pretty interesting to see how we trade. But I really like this one. This is my top priority for today, for this week as well, and to see if we can kind of get a little bit of reaction. Hopefully, we don't just fade off right away, right? Because right now, the problem with trying to take an entry here, it's like, how would you manage your risk accordingly? Because again, there's still this upside fair value gap that could possibly get traded back up into. Um, it's just a little bit more risky. Like, could you just follow this 5-minute structure? Sure, but I prefer a 1 hour, 4 hour retracement first up into this area, and then rejection, and then maybe some sort of like 1 hour, 4 hour setup to form before we head down into here. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what I'm watching for. Euro and pound, honestly, I'm going to wait to see what happens on these ones. So I think the beginning of the week, outside of dollar yen, I think it's going to be more of a patient type of everything else like NQ, ES, GC. I'm going to wait a little bit. I think the one that's most ready going into like the Asia session and going into tonight is dollar yen, because yeah, the setup just looks ready on the daily time frame where we can anticipate this next daily candle to print a little bit lower. So we'll see how this goes. But again, this one's my main priority. And as always, throughout the week, I'm going to update you guys whenever I see anything. Like once, if NQ becomes a little bit more clear, I'll go ahead and make a video on this, or we'll be on the live stream talking about it. So yeah, just make sure notifications are on, because whenever I do go live, I'll usually notify the morning of. So always have notifications on for the Telegram, because that's where I'll update you guys whenever we do go live for the New York session.